numerator problem, and that's like saying we have a starting point of 8 and we're going down, because we're subtracting, we're going down 12. So I'm going to go to our friendly number of 0 first, and then I'd have 4 left over, and so you should get an answer of -4. For D, we have 20 plus -35, and for this one, it helps to think about Carl's house. We're starting 20 feet above sea level, and we're adding -35. That's like adding weights. Adding weights is really like subtraction because it brings the house down. So really, we're going to start at 20 and go down 35. So if I were to do that on an open number line, I'd start at 20, and you can go down a total of 35 any way you want. You could break it up by going by friendly numbers, like go down 10, go down another 10 to get to 0, go down another 10 to get to -10, and then of the 35, you'd only have 5 left to go down, which is one way you could have gotten your answer of -15. And 20 plus -35, that's basically the same as starting at 20 and going down 35, or 20 minus 35. All right, for B, we have -12 plus 4, and I remember that the first number in the number sentence is just the starting point. It's not really weights, so that one is just like starting at -12 and going up 4. And if I think about 0, if we're at -12 and we go up 4, we're going to get closer to 0, but we're not going to pass it. So it's sort of like subtraction. It's like 12, and then we get rid of 4 because we're getting 4 closer to 0, and you should end up at -8 because you're still below 0. All right, and then the last one on this page says 3 minus -5. Again, it helps to think of Carl's house. We're starting 3 feet above sea level, and Carl is subtracting or removing 5 weights. So really, this is going to go up 5. So that's like starting at 3 and just going up 5, which is the same as 3 plus 5, and that's why the answer is 8. All right, so state test level, addition and subtraction problems with rational numbers. We have 6 1/4 minus 10 1/2. It helps first to take 10 1/2 and rewrite it so that it's the part, the one that says a half, is written in fourths. The 10 doesn't change because that's the whole, but we can take 1/2 and rewrite it as 2/4 because you can multiply by 2 over 2. And then if we rewrite this problem, we still start at 6 1/4, but now we're subtracting 10 and 2/4. So if I were to do this on an open number line, our starting point is 6 1/4. And then we want to go down a total of 10 and 2/4. So I know we're definitely going to hit 0. So I'm just going to use that strategy. And then I got to figure out what's left over. If I had 10 and 2/4 and I use up 6 and 1/4, that would leave me with 4 wholes and 1/4 left over. So that's the last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go down 4 and 1/4. And so my answer would be -4 and 1/4. All right, and F is basically a copy of the hardest problem on the integer test, the one that I think only 60% of you guys got right. The other 40% got confused somewhere. So let's go over it. Remember that with these problems, you can turn the decimals into fractions or the fractions into decimals because they're equivalent. You can solve it any way that you want. So I'm going to solve this one in fraction form, just because we can. -3/10, that's the same as -3/10 minus -3/4. And then I want to take 3/10 and 3/4 and rewrite them so they have common denominators. And if I think about 10 and 4 and their multiples, I realize that 20 is a magic number because they can both get to 20. So I'm making equivalent fractions. out of 20. So for 3/10, I multiplied by 2 over 2 because that would give me 6/20. And for 3/4, I knew 4 times 5 was 20. So I did 3/4 times 5 over 5, and I got 15/20. And now this problem is going to turn into negative 6/20 minus negative 15/20. Make some space down here. And I'm starting at negative 6/20. And then I got to figure out if this is going up or down. So this right here, this minus negative 15/20, that is the same as getting rid of weight. And so for getting rid of weight, basically we need to go up 15/20. So first I'm going to go up 6/20. And then if I had 15 of them and I used up 6, I would have 9 left over. And that would give me an answer of 9/20. And I realize more people probably did it in decimal form, so if you were going to do it in decimal form, this is what it should have looked like, and you would have ended up with an equivalent answer of 45/100, which is equivalent to 9/20. Alright, so negative 4 times negative 9, same signs. It's going to give me positive 36. Negative 10 times 2, those are different signs. It's going to give me a negative 20. Positive 60 divided by negative 2. I know 60 divided by 2 is 30, and different signs are going to be negative. And then finally, 32 divided by 4 is 8, and since the signs are the same, it's going to stay as a positive.